Thank you very much. I'm here today to tell you why arts education matters and why it's critical to America's future success. But I have a confession to make. My name is Janice, and I'm a chemical engineer. I feel a little bit like I'm in an AA meeting. Not really. Let me take a few minutes to connect the dots for you. I began my life in Flint, Michigan, the home of automotive manufacturing. At least it was in those days. And I was the first child of two first children, my parents, Dan and Bev. My dad was a tool and die maker in the auto factory, and my mother was a homemaker. In my first 5 years, we added 2 brothers to my family, and I began my long love of dance. This is me in some of my costumes from my first dance recitals. I was fortunate to be introduced to the arts at a very young age. I was also fortunate that my parents understood the value of art and encouraged me to participate. I have to say, though, that art did not encompass a very large part of our household. As a matter of fact, the only arts I can remember my parents participating in was when my mother played the accordion, a holdover from her immigrant Italian heritage. So, fast forward on through my years in school, I liked science and math. I was always good in those subjects. I took all the tough classes, got good grades. It was always expected that I would go on to college, even though no one in my family had ever gone to college. Not my parents, or their parents, or any of my aunts and uncles, and I was the oldest of the cousins. So when I say no one had gone to college, I mean no one from our entire family had ever gone. So it was a scary experience. I found it a little bit difficult to figure out what I might study in college. But, as I mentioned, I liked science and math. That wasn't too common for a girl in the early 60s. But I decided that I would study engineering. So I enrolled in the University of Michigan in chemical engineering, one of only 10 women out of a class of 110 that year. I completed my education, took a job with a top company, and had a great career in engineering. I had many different experiences in engineering, supervision, management, moved all around the company, and gained many new skills. Remember, they say you should never stop learning, and I certainly didn't. But I had a secret, and that is that I felt like I wasn't being challenged. Oh, there were challenges at work, certainly, but I felt like I wasn't using my skills to their fullest, and that I could do a lot more. So, after 24 years in that career, I decided to make a change. And I thought long and hard about what I had enjoyed, and I thought back to my youth, when I enjoyed the arts. And so the change that I made was in leading an arts organization. I took on that challenge, and that's what I do today. I manage this organization, the Genesee Center for the Arts and Education, and I help people. I help them develop their creative talents and skills, share those talents, and enrich our community. People of all ages, all levels and abilities, young and old, from all areas of the city and the surrounding county areas. But enough about me. You didn't come here to find out about some singular person. You came here to be inspired in your own lives, to try and figure out how you could use your talents and help yourself and your community be a better place. And that brings me back to the arts. Let me ask you a question. How many of you here are artists? Go ahead, raise your hands. I can kind of see you if I cover my head. Okay, there's a few of you out there. I wonder what you would have said when you were in kindergarten, when everything was new, an adventure, when you were like little sponges, soaking up every exciting opportunity that was put before you. I bet all of you were artists then. Drawing, painting, cutting, singing, dancing. Did anyone used to put on little plays and skits with people from their neighborhood and their friends and family? Yep, I see some hands. Me too. I did that. So I want to tell you today why you each me to again become kindergartners. I'm here to encourage you to nurture your creative selves, even when there aren't so many people clapping for you or telling you what a great macaroni necklace you made. Some of you may have seen the title to my talk, Full Steam Ahead, Why Arts Education is So Important for America's Success, and wondered what STEAM was all about. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And some of you may have heard of STEM, without the arts, as a current focus of some educational curricula. I'm here to tell you today why arts must be part of the equation, and here's why. There are many challenges in the world today, challenges that can be faced by right-brain, creative, conceptual thinkers and problem solvers. These challenges demand creativity. Daniel Pink postulates in his book, A Whole New Mind, that the true value of an education is in nurturing the creative processes. Processes like those of right-brain, creative people, artists. These are the things that will make the competitive advantage for our nation and our world to thrive. We need new ideas, more than training on solving basic functional problems. Problems that can be solved quicker by computers and more cheaply by being outsourced to countries with a lower wage structure. But you cannot outsource creativity. Daniel Maida, who is the president of the Rhode Island School of Design, predicts that artists will emerge as the new business leaders of tomorrow, and cites RISD graduates as some prominent examples. John Coleman makes a compelling case for the role of poetry in business in a recent article in the Harvard Business Review. Will.i.am, those young people in the audience will know who I'm talking about, was recently named as the Director of Creative Innovation at Intel. And the World Economic Forum, held in Davos, has been inviting arts and cultural leaders to its conference for several years, and this year named the role of the arts to its Council of Global Economic Advisory Councils. Arts at its core is all about inventiveness and creativity. Let's take the Patent Act of 1790 for an example. The Patent Act was put in place to promote the progress of useful arts. Now, arts in those days aren't arts as we think about it today. Arts referred to artisans, people who could make things, and people who had a particular skill. And so things were progressing rather nicely as people went about their days and their lives patenting their useful arts. That is until 1899, when the director of the U.S. Patent Office, Mr. Charles Durrell, made the bold statement that everything that can be invented has been invented. Obviously, no one listened to him. And let me tell you about Simon Newcomb, who was a professor of mathematics and astronomy. He was a respected scientist of his time. In 1903, he wrote a journal article proving that it was scientifically impossible that any heavier than air machine could ever fly. Obviously, the Wright brothers did not read scientific journals because several weeks later, they made their first flight at Kitty Hawk. Indeed, every invention, every new scientific theory was created by some harebrained fool, a fool we now venerate as a genius. Let me tell you about a couple of these foolish artistic geniuses. This man was a musician, a sculptor, a painter, a writer, an architect. He was widely known to have been one of the greatest painters of his time, and maybe the most diversely talented person ever to have lived. He was also a mathematician, an engineer, a geologist, a botanist, an anatomist. He was a futurist who imagined many innovations. Sadly, he possessed no mechanical aptitude to build anything, and his ideas were so wide-ranging that he never spent enough time on any single idea to bring it to reality. But if he had, he might well have been one of the greatest inventors of our time. This man is Leonardo da Vinci. The next man I want to talk to you about is Jerry Hal Lemelson. Now, many of you may never have heard of Mr. Lemelson, but he's one of the most prolific inventors in history with 605 patents to his credit. He's patented things such as industrial robots, camcorders, fax machines, cordless telephones. He also has patents in medical devices and instrumentation. He went on to patent things that weren't so technology-centric, and those are games. Things like Velcro games, board games, and an improvement to the classic propeller beanie. These creative, artistic geniuses in their early years continue to seek out new challenges and meet them with new ideas and inventive solutions. I encourage you to reach back to your early years, to think about connecting with your creative selves. Be an artist. Remember, you were put on this earth for a purpose, and if art is your purpose, you must do it. Observe, create, share, persevere, even though the reaction of friends and family may be one of fear that you won't make it as an artist. But remember, the earth without art is just and everyone needs a macaroni necklace. Thank you.